What happens when a pizza delivery guy gets strapped with a bomb and told to rob a bank in under 10 hours? Today, we're breaking down an action comedy movie, 30 minutes or less. Let's go. At the start of the movie, we meet Nick, who was out doing his delivery job like every day. This time, he was running late. He showed up a full 4 minutes past the deadline. The kids at the house had ordered pizza from his shop on purpose. They knew their place was far from the store, and no one could possibly make the 30-minute delivery promise. Nick begged them to pay him, explaining that the money would come out of his salary, but the kids didn't care at all. So Nick, being just as sly as they were, asked them, "How can you guys eat pizza without Coca-Cola?" The kids stopped for a moment and thought, he's right. Nick offered to grab drinks for them if they gave him a small tip. The kids trusted him and handed over the money. Nick took the cash and ran off, never returning. We also learned that Nick's parents were divorced, and he preferred living alone, away from both of them. His friend Chet, not Chutney, was the complete opposite of him. Chet was responsible and worked as a teacher. Then we meet two more friends. One of them was Dwayne, and the other was Travis. Dwayne's grandfather was extremely wealthy, which is why Dwayne never worked a day in his life. Because of that, he grew into a lazy, stubborn man. His father had won $10 million in the lottery 6 years earlier, but even he knew that money wouldn't last forever. He needed to start a business or invest it wisely. Instead, Dwayne kept wasting money and never did anything productive with it, which led to constant arguments. Dwayne had grown so tired of his grandfather's lectures that he decided he wanted to kill him and take all the money for himself before the old man spent it all. Ever since his grandfather won the lottery, he bought everything only for himself, and over time, Dwayne's resentment turned into deep hatred. A club dancer, the woman Dwayne spent most of his time with, told him she knew a sharpshooter who would kill anyone for just 1 lakh rupees. If Dwayne wanted, she could even talk to him about killing Dwayne's grandfather. Dwayne immediately shared the idea with his friend. Travis had no interest in killing someone for money, but Dwayne pushed him, saying, "What then? Are you planning to keep scrubbing your grandpa's house for the rest of your life for just $10 a day? If you want to move ahead in life, we need to get rid of your grandpa." Dwayne was already dreaming of using the old man's money to open a club in their city, a place that would make them rich. Meanwhile, Nick had fallen for his friend's sister. Her name was Kat. One day, Kat told him she had been hired by an event management company and that she would now be handling all their events. Nick felt proud of her, happy that she was doing so well. But his smile faded when Kat told him she had to move to another city for the job. Nick later told his friend that the city she was moving to was dangerous, especially for girls like Kat. Seeing how worried he looked, Chet realized Nick liked his sister. Although the two were close friends, Chet didn't want Nick anywhere near his sister. To him, Nick was irresponsible and jobless. Their disagreement quickly turned into a shouting match. In a moment of anger, Nick blurted out that his parents' divorce had happened because of Chet, since Chet was the one who told his father about his mother's affair. Furious, Chet threw him out of the house. Their friendship ended that night. While all this was happening, Dwayne had already contacted the sharpshooter. The only thing left was to arrange the 1 lakh rupees needed to pay him. He began thinking hard about how to get that much money. Eventually, he and Travis settled on one idea. They would kidnap someone, strap a bomb to him, and force him to rob a bank for the money. They were still trying to decide who the victim should be when a commercial for a pizza shop appeared on the television. It was the same place where Nick worked. They had found their target. Now they just needed to wait 30 minutes. Every time a pizza order came in, the shop sent Nick out to deliver it. Like always, Nick showed up late. The place was completely deserted, and as he walked toward the house, he spotted Dwayne waiting for him. Dwayne had a gorilla mask on, and the driver beside him wore a snake monkey mask, making it impossible for Nick to recognize either of them. Before he could react, they grabbed him and knocked him out. When Nick finally opened his eyes, he realized they had strapped a bomb to his body. Terrified, he started screaming, but there was no one around to hear him. Dwayne told him they had no intention of killing him, but they had one condition. Nick had 10 hours to steal 1 lakh rupees from a bank and bring it back to them. If he failed, they would detonate the bomb and blow him to pieces. Nick was so frightened that he agreed immediately. To scare him even more, they blew up a teddy bear right in front of him and warned him that if he even thought about going to the police, the same thing would happen to him. After that, they let him go. Nick ran straight to Chet's place. Chet thought Nick had come to apologize for what happened earlier, but Nick quickly told him the truth. He explained that a bomb was strapped to his body, and he had only 10 hours to rob a bank. He tried to explain the situation, but he was shaking so much that Chet thought he was joking. Only when Chet actually saw the bomb did he believe him, so he agreed to help. Together, they searched online for anything that could help them defuse the bomb, but nothing seemed reliable. Eventually, they realized they had no choice but to rob a bank. Chet told Nick he knew a bank they could target, but Nick would have to do the job alone. Chet would only guide him and keep him motivated, but he wouldn't commit the robbery with him. Nick was terrified and begged him with folded hands. Chet finally agreed to go with him, but he made one condition. After this was over, Nick would stay away from his sister and never mention her again. They left together and headed to a store where they bought toy guns that looked real. Nick and Chet needed a fast car if they were going to rob a bank and get away with the money. They slipped into their neighbor's garage by forcing the door open and started searching for the car keys. As they rummaged through the place, Nick suddenly noticed the car owner walking toward them. They quickly covered their faces, pointed a toy gun at him, threatened him, grabbed his keys, and sped off in his car. Only a few hours were left before the heist, so they headed straight toward the bank. On the way, an idea popped into Nick's head. He wasn't sure he would make it out alive, and he wanted to insult his boss one last time, face to face. They pulled over at a pizza shop. Nick went inside while Chet stayed in the car. Insulting the boss was only an excuse. Instead, Nick slipped through the back entrance and went to see Chet's sister, who was also his girlfriend. He apologized for all his mistakes through the gate and told her that he had already told her brother about their relationship, and that Chet was completely fine with it. He told her that if he survived this mess, he would never return, because he had made a promise to her brother. Then he left. Meanwhile, Dwayne and Travis had already figured out who his girlfriend was. Nick and Chet finally burst into the bank. They shouted for everyone to get down on the floor. They needed to finish this fast. A police officer inside the bank was ordered to drop his weapon. As soon as he tossed it aside, the gun slid across the floor, struck the corner of a wall, and went off by accident. The bullet hit a man in the leg. Nick hadn't wanted anyone to get hurt, so when the cashier finally handed them the money from the vault, Nick gave some of it to the injured man to cover his medical bills. Just as they opened the cash bags, a cloud of bright pink permanent dye exploded everywhere. The dye was meant to mark robbers so they could be recognized later. Nick dodged it just in time. They grabbed the money and bolted outside, but the moment they stepped out the door, a police officer caught them. Chet panicked, dropped his gun, and surrendered on the spot. Nick had no such choice. He was trapped with a bomb strapped to him. He bluffed by pretending he would shoot himself, and in the confusion, he slipped away. Now the entire police force was after them, but Nick had been delivering pizzas for years, and all those reckless, high-speed deliveries had turned him into an expert driver. No one could catch him. As they raced through the streets, a truck suddenly crashed into their car. With their vehicle totaled, Nick and Chet had no choice but to jump out and run for their lives. Dwayne and Travis were questioning people outside the bank, trying to make sure no one had recognized Nick during the robbery. Fortunately for them, no one had. The two of them had pulled off the heist cleanly. Dwayne called Nick and told him to meet at the old railway tracks. That was where his hired sniper, the caller, was supposed to take the money from Nick and give him the password to deactivate the bomb placed on. Dwayne told Travis he was tired of living a miserable life and wanted to finally live big. The Travis realized Dwayne never planned to let the Nick survive. He was afraid of getting caught. Soon the caller arrived to collect the money from Nick. Nick handed over the cash and asked for the password to deactivate the bomb. The caller looked confused. He had no idea what password Nick was talking about. That was when Nick realized everyone had been playing him. When Nick demanded his money back, the caller pulled a gun and told him to disappear. But Nick had come prepared. While the caller was distracted, Chet crept up from behind, attacked him, and helped Nick escape. Nick called Dwayne. He said, "You cheated me. Until you give me the real password, you're not getting a single cent." Dwayne lost his temper and decided he didn't need anyone anymore. He will kill Nick himself. He grabbed the remote detonator and pressed the button. Nothing happened. All he heard was a dialing tone. Travis had secretly removed the bomb access from the remote. Dwayne was furious, but he forced himself to stay calm and think. Meanwhile, the caller phoned him and threatened him before hanging up. Then he went to Chet's grandfather's house looking for the Dwaynes. When the old man insisted he knew nothing, the caller shot him and left. Without realizing it, he had just taken care of Dwayne's problem for him. The caller soon received the coordinates of an unknown location and realized that was where Dwayne would be. At the same time, Dwayne and Travis kidnapped Nick's girlfriend again. They told Nick to hand over the money and they would release her. Nick didn't trust them, so he demanded the password first. Once he got it, he deactivated the bomb, and then gave them the money. In return, they set her free. Nick knew they would try to kill him and burn the body, so he came prepared. Suddenly, Dwayne noticed a tiny red laser dot glowing on his forehead. Nick told him, "That is my guy. If either of you tries anything or even moves the wrong way, he'll put a bullet in both of you." Nick was lying. It was actually Chet hiding in the shadows with a laser sight. As Nick started to walk away with the girl, the caller suddenly appeared. He had come to kill Dwayne for disrespecting him earlier. The caller grabbed all the money and told Dwayne and Travis to get lost. But he knew they would never let him live. He fired the flamethrower gun. One of the shots hit the fuel tank on Travis's back end, set off a massive explosion. Nick took the opportunity, grabbed the girl and the cash, and ran. Travis, injured and barely holding on, told Dwayne not to worry about him and to save the money. Nick thought they had finally escaped, but when he looked back, Dwayne was chasing them in his car. Just as Dwayne was about to shoot, his car erupted in a giant explosion and crashed. Nick had secretly reactivated the bomb and hidden it inside Dwayne's vehicle. Chet looked down at the bags of cash with relief, but the permanent blue ink packs suddenly exploded again, covering his entire face in blue dye he would be stuck with for months. That is where the movie ends. I hope you enjoyed the story. See you in the next one, and thank you for watching.